Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shavonne and I'm the founder of Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. So today's topic is going to be over seasonal friendships. So I thought about this topic because I feel like everybody's experienced seasonal friendships at one point in their life, and if you haven't, just keep on living. But one thing I got from it is that God gives us exactly what we need when we need it. He knows what we need. You know, He gives us things, He takes things away, and I just feel like seasonal friendships is exactly what it sounds like. It's seasonal. So sometimes we would be the one that depart from people. Sometimes it's mutual. Sometimes the other person, they'll be the one to depart. But regardless, it's all good. So the Bible verse that made me just think about this topic was Ecclesiastes 3:1, which states that it's a time and a place for everything under the heavens. And what that means is literally what it sounds like. It's a season for everything. So sometimes you'll have this, and in another season you'll have another. So I want to open the floor to my panel. What they'll be doing is sharing experiences about their seasonal friendships, and then in the end they'll give tips. So if you are struggling in a season, if you've experienced that and you just want to take away tips, then stay tuned. So I will start with introductions to my left.
I'm Aftyn.
Hi, I'm Janese.
I'm Shelby.
I'm Rachel. All right, so the first question over this topic is, Rachel, discuss a time where you had to initiate the end of a friendship. What was your experience, maybe your feelings, how did you cope, or why did it happen?
So I'll say like a few years ago, I had a really close friend, and we pretty much shared like everything together. We always went out together, did things together. But the lifestyle they were living just wasn't matching with the lifestyle that I was wanting to live. And it was hard because I struggled a lot with breaking off the friendship, but not telling them that you are the problem. It's more so your lifestyle. So what I did, I just kind of slowly started to back away, although it was hard. And of course our friendship changed. But in the end, I just learned that in order for me to grow, I had to let go of those things that were trying to hold me back, because they do say that the people that you hang with are who you'll become, whether you want it to be that way or not. It just naturally happens. So it was a hard situation, but I look back on it as God showing me that that friendship was just for that time. And I learned so much during that time, and now going forward, I know how to deal with certain friendships and more so categorize them. So
I think that's good. I mean, I think it's hard to naturally break off anything, especially when you build a bond with that person, or if you've been in a friendship for X amount of years, months, whatever it is. So Aftyn, discuss a time where someone has ended a friendship between you and them. So yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna have to edit that out. Discuss a time where someone else has ended a friendship between you and them. So what was your experiences, your feelings, how did you cope, or what happened?
Okay. I had a best friend in junior high school, and she was my second best friend ever in life. So that was a big deal for me because that was junior high school. And from junior high school to throughout high school, we were friends, and we confided in each other. We prayed together, we cried together, talked about boys together, everything, all kinds of embarrassing moments together. But closer to the end of our friendship in high school, she began to act a little bit different, and what we found out was she was diagnosed with a mental disorder. But you know, before she even found that out, or anybody that was close to her, she began to be very paranoid about things and make statements that none of us really understood, and she would put herself in situations that were unsafe or unhealthy. At least I felt that way, given some things she had shared with me from the past. And because of that, I felt like I wanted to address those things with her, but she didn't know how to take it. And after some time, she started feeling like I was being disrespectful and not respecting the decisions she wanted to make. And so after a while, she pulled away and started hanging with people that even from the past, she didn't even agree with their values, but that was her choice. And I didn't want to hurt her, but it was hurting me. And I had to just learn to love her from afar. And it was hard because it was a breakup, and I had invested so much inside of her that I almost didn't know who I was anymore. So it really kind of reshaped the way I saw friendships after that. Yeah.
Loving from afar, that was big.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, is you can still love them, but it's from afar.
Yes.
So, Janese, share a time where you had to initiate the end of a friendship. What was your experience? How did you cope? Whatever.
I have an interesting story. About a young lady I met at school. I'm a teacher, so she was a teacher as well. We're both new teachers, so we instantly clicked, and we confided in each other, vented to each other. We had a good friendship. We would start going out after work, hanging out. We went on trips together. We went like to Shreveport, everything. So we were like probably in for like a year solid, and then sometime in the summer I get a random phone call, and it's her other friend on the phone. She's like, "So how do you feel about so and so? She's being really shy with her feelings towards you." And I'm like, feelings? I'm like, "Oh, we're cool, you know, we vibe, we hang out." And then my friend gets on the phone and she's like, I just feel like, you know, I'm attracted to you." Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes. She's like, "I'm attracted to you, and it's gotten to the point where I can't, you know, hold out any longer. I had to let you know. I don't know if you're into that type of thing or not." And I'm like,
Oh, dang.
"Huh? What?" I'm like, "Have you been drinking? Are you for real? Like, is this serious?" And then she was for real. And she really like went into a whole spiel and poured out all of her feelings. And I'm just like, mouth dropped, dead silent on the phone. So she was just asking me, you know, "Are you going to be, I don't know if you're into that type of thing, you're not into that type of thing." And I was like, no. And we discussed previously like my Christian values or whatever, so she already knew. But that's definitely a friendship I had to end, and just had to, it just felt awkward even telling her it wasn't going to work. It felt like I was breaking up with somebody. You know? After my initial shock, my next reaction was like, I felt kind of like disrespected, because I'm like, here I am, you know, being friends with you. We're hanging out, we're going out, eating, and you're like dating me probably. Who knows?
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely my experience.
So you felt like you couldn't even keep the friendship, even if she tried to remain platonic, or if you
No, and she asked me that. She was like, "Well, I still value your friendship and everything, so, you know, how do you feel going forward?" And at first I said, you know, I should probably be okay. I should be able to brush this off. But then after some time it was like, no, because I can't trust you anymore. Like, I don't know, like,
Can't trust her.
are we really hanging out, or like, what are you
Right.
trying to do? So
Right.
I had to end that.
Yeah.
And it was tough because she was so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
she was a good friend. So
That's crazy. Like, the fact that her intentions weren't even like pure, or like, you know, in the beginning. So I can see how that catches you way off guard. Okay, so Shelby, discuss a time where someone has ended a friendship between you and them. Like, what was your experience? How did you cope? What happened? Why?
Okay, so this has actually happened like 3 times to me, but I'll tell one. So in college, my roommate, my sophomore year, she was our roommate sophomore year, and it was like 4 of us in the suite. So my other 2 roommates, we were like close. It was like 3 of us, we were close, and then like she got added to our room, and it was kind of like, okay, so she became like the 4th of like the crew. So one day she just like left the group me. And we didn't really know what was going on. So one of us reached out to her and was like, you know, is everything okay? And she was just like, yeah, I'm fine. And that was the end of our friendship. Like, never figured out what it was. Like,
You get no closure.
nothing. Like, it
Why
was
are you
it.
Had less
Left the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, just out. And so, so later on, I don't know, probably like a year or so later, like I saw her somewhere on campus, and I mean, it was okay. Like, we were just like, hey, how's it doing?
It was
like,
awkward?
Not at all. Like, just as friendly. Like, even now, like, we still follow each other on social media, and like, I see like the stuff that she's doing. Like, she's doing really great, and like she's following her passion and everything. And like, I fully support, and I like her stuff. Like, oh my god, I love this, and you know, she's like, I mean, it's fine, but we're just not close. And like, we were really close. So like, we're just not like that anymore.
And you've never tried to have the friendship, I mean not the friendship, but the conversation
Yeah.
again, like after time passed, you've never brought it up, or?
So I'm not the type to do that. Yeah, I have a thing about chasing people, but I think when one of my friends asked her if something was wrong, I felt like that was the opportunity to say something, or at least to know that if you ever do want to talk about it, you can come back and say something, you know? The fact that she didn't, I didn't feel that I needed to push it and try and figure it out. And I don't know, I guess maybe she had one of those moments where she was like, okay, I'm trying to go in a certain direction and I need to focus, or like whatever it is, you know, like she might have had an aha moment because she switched her major, like she did a lot. There was a lot of change that happened after that. So I'm realizing that maybe that was just something that had to do with her. It didn't really have anything to do with like us. So.
I think that's a mature way to think about it, actually, because like I feel like when you experience somebody leaving your life, you take it personal. You start questioning. You like, what did I do? And then you be holding some kind of like bitterness inside. And when you see that person, you kind of just like, she ain't cool with me no more. And I mean, and I'm saying that from experience because I'm not perfect, and it's happened to me before, and I had to check myself. Like I still have to check myself daily. Like still love them, like you said, you can still love from afar. But you have to understand that some people can't go in every season with you, and so instead of being like bitter about it, it's like, okay, well, maybe, you know, you were like optimistic, like maybe this happened, or maybe, you know.
And I didn't start off optimistic, but like later on, like look, hindsight, you know, I'm like, that might have, especially since like we could still be really cordial and cool, I'm like, maybe that it wasn't personal, you know, like, so.
Yeah, that's very mature. So what are some tips that y'all can leave like the viewers in regards to somebody going through seasonal friendships that may be struggling with it, and even if they're not in the season now, but they know somebody struggling? What is something that you can leave? And it can just be any order.
I guess I'll start. So I would say, like, seasonal friendships can be with, like, as you see, everybody here, like, the seasonal friendship was something that was, like, a person who was really close. I think I used to hear the term, and I would think it would be somebody who, like, wasn't that important to you that was your seasonal friend. But going through it and hearing everyone's story, it's like somebody who's, like, your best friend or somebody really close to you could be a seasonal friend. And I guess don't be discouraged or too hurt or, you know, take it personally or, you know, hold a grudge against that person. Just kind of love them from afar. And, like, that's okay that they helped you in the season that they needed to help you.
I agree.
I would say the same thing, just to trust your intuition. Some friends are just for a certain period of time in your life, and that's all they're there for. That doesn't make them a bad person. That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make the situation bad. It's just, that's just how life is. It's kind of like the leaves on a tree. They grow, blossom, and fall off, and then new leaves grow. But if you hinder yourself, but if you hinder yourself, like a plant, if you don't water it, then it won't grow, and you won't mature. And you won't grow mature. But I mean, overall, it's just life. One friend falls off, another one will come, and you never know. The next friendship might be an eternal friendship. But if you hang on to a seasonal one, you don't allow opportunity for an eternal friendship to grow and blossom.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I like that. Can I say something after that? Because I don't even want to say nothing after that, but that was real good. It just made me think of, like, you know how some people could be like, no new friends, and they hold on to that Drake so hard, but it's just like, sometimes you missing a blessing.
That's
when
real.
you not allowing new people come in your life. And I used to be one of those people where it was just like, nope, this is my circle, this is what I'm sticking with. And after maybe a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, I literally kind of just like, all right, God, like, let it happen. And he's brought some amazing people in my life, and we are all opposites.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, but we still flow and we mesh. And I'm just like, God, this is nobody but you. Because my old mindset would have been like, you got to like the same things as me. We got to mesh. You got to do this on paper. Like, everything has to be right on paper, except for, instead of like letting people have their own personality and be eclectic, and you're different, but you still flow. So I've been super open to just like accepting new friends, and that's just been amazing. But any more tips?
I would say for sure to ask God for discernment regarding people.
Yeah.
There have been a few situations now where it's like, okay, if it was a snake, it would have bit me. So I would say for sure seek God in your friendships. I feel like so often we seek God in relationships and our spouse and who we're dating. I know I do, so I need to pray more over my friends. Okay, guys, is this somebody that you want me to be friends with? Either this person is going to bring good fruit or bad fruit. So I would say just pray over friends.
I'm really glad you said that, because along with like loving from afar and praying for the type of friends that come into your life, but also praying for the friends that leave your life or the ones that you move away from, because it's a choice to love after that happens, and sometimes it takes time to look back and like appreciate that friendship and still appreciate that person and realize even if it hurt really bad the way that you guys broke off, it was still something that God allowed to happen. And sometimes praying for that person, like the Holy Spirit can do things that you can't. It can travel distances that you can't go to be with them, and it can penetrate hearts when you couldn't, you know, and there was nothing you could say to make them change their mind. And the Holy Spirit can just like, it can show them things that you can't even explain. So, you know, I would just say love from afar when you can't be there, and to pray for that person.
I needed that.
No, for real. I feel like I was just in church. Open the Bibles. Offering. Yes. And pass the offering in the communion. I'm just kidding. But that was good. And once again, I want to thank y'all for joining me on this topic. I feel like y'all brought so much like clarity to somebody that needed it, and just thanks for sharing the tips, and thank you for viewing, and definitely stay tuned for the next video, and follow them on Instagram because they just dope. So yeah, bye.